Welcome to Prathibha virtual classes. Today's our topic is programming languages. In this we are going to learn what is programming and introduction of programming language, classification of programming languages and differences between these languages. What is programming? Programming is the process of writing an algorithm into a sequence of computer instructions. And this is the only way through which we can create our own programs and can execute them on computer. That is the meaning. What it means, we can interact with the computer with the help of programming. And this programming requires skills, logical thinking and lots of experience. When we have the skills about the programming, then only you can write the programming. It also requires the logical thinking and also the experience about that programming. And programmers. The programmers are the person who writes these programs in a specific programming computer programming language. To write the programming, we require any of the computer programming languages. The computer programming, by using these computer programming languages, the programs are written by the programmer. And these programmers are highly skilled, hardworking and problem solvers. So, programmers, the programs written by the programmers. Programming language. What is the programming language? This programming language is made up of two parts, that is the programming plus language. Programming is the process of writing an algorithm into a sequence of instructions which requires skills, logical thinking and lots of experience. And generally the language is the medium of interaction between the two objects. If you want to interact with the other person, we can use either the Telugu or the English or the Hindi language. Just like the language is the medium of interaction between the two objects. And it is a system of communication between any two objects, either spoken or written. By speaking, we are interacting with the another person, like that. This programming is also, by writing the programming, we can interact with the computer. Humans have invented thousands of spoken languages to interact with other humans. Birds, animals, insects and every living creature interact in their own language. Like that, programming language is also the medium between our medium to interact with the computer. So we say that programming language is the language of computers. So like that, the general language, like the language to interact with the other objects or the other human, we use the language, either that may be the any spoken language like the Telugu, English, Hindi, anything. Okay, here the programming language is the language of computers. What it means, to interact with the computer, we can use the programming language, which is used to communicate with the computer system. To interact with the computer, we can use the programming language. And computers understand only the binary, which means only the 0 and 1 numbers. Binary number system which has that only two numbers, that only understand. That means on and offs. But humans are not comfortable with binary number system. Humans cannot comfortable with that binary number. And programming language act as an interface between the computer and the humans. So we say that programming language is the interaction between the computer and the humans. And programming languages are used to create the programs. By using these languages, we can create the programs. And this computer program is intended to perform some specific task. What is the program? Why we can return the program? To specify some to perform the some task, we can use the computer program. Using these programming languages, we write instructions the computer should perform. Instructions are usually written using the characters, words, symbols and decimals. By using that keyboard we can use these, and these can be given as the instructions to the computer, and these instructions are later encoded to the computer understandable language, that is the binary language. So computer understands only the binary language, which is in the binary numbers, zeros and ones form. We call that as the machine language also. Up to now, the thousands of languages have been created till date. Many are still being developed every year. The programming languages have been created many. Every programming language is designed for some specific purpose. Generally, the languages are designed for specific purpose. For example, Fortran and OCaml and Haskell, which are best suited for scientific and numerical computations. Like that, Java, C++, C#, we read this as C# language. These are best suited for designing the server applications or internet applications. And also the games, desktop applications, and many more can also be written by using Bing. That means the languages are designed to perform some specific tasks or specific purposes. So every language is designed for specific purpose. So generally these programming languages are classified into two different types. These languages are classified into the following. This is the machine language, assembly language, and high level language. Machine level language. These are also known as the first generation languages or first generation of programming language. And this is the generally the programming languages are treated as the low level languages and high level languages. So machine level language belongs to the lowest level, and this is the lowest level and named as first generation of programming languages. And these consist only two conditions, that is either true or false, or yes or no, like that 1 and 0. This type of language is known as the binary language. The language which uses only 1 and 0 form, only in these two binaries symbols, that language is called the machine level language or binary level language. Computer system could understand only these binary language. That means all the instructions feed into the computer system must be in the form of 0 or 1. And these languages are very tough to understand by the humans. In computer, because the language which is written using the ones and zeros cannot be understandable to the users. So these are very tough to understand the human. The advantages and disadvantages of these languages are advantages. Machine level languages are directly interacting with the computer system. This is the main advantages of, because computers understand only the zeros and ones. The machine language is made up of 0 and 1. So this language is directly interacting with the computer, and it does not require any software to come for the conversion of the programming code, like the compilers and interpreters. Generally the programming languages are written by using the programs are written in any programming language, that to be converted using the compiler or the interpreter. But here no need to convert these, because these languages are directly written in ones and zeros, and it takes very less time to execute the program, because there is no conversion takes place in these programs. So these are the advantages. And disadvantage, it is a machine dependent language, means that is individual program required for each machine. The different types of machines can be required different types of machine languages. So each individual machine can have its own language. To develop the program in machine language, it's too hard to understand and the program. Okay, to developing the language, it is too hard. It's time consuming to develop the new programs. If you want to develop the new programs, it is time consuming, and debugging process is also very hard because the finding errors process is typical. And machine language is not portable, means we cannot port the programs from one machine to another machine. So these are the disadvantage. Main disadvantage of machine level languages are these cannot be used to develop the new programs, like these cannot be understandable easily to the users. And next is the assembly level languages. These are the second generation programming language. It's the middle level and named as the second level programming language or second generation programming language. It contains the same instructions as the machine level language, but the instructions and the variables have specific name called the commands. It means assembly language is in the form of group of commands, and these instructions can be, and the variables are specific name, those are called the commands, instead of being just the binary numbers. Machine language uses only binary numbers, but assembly level language uses the group of commands. It also uses symbols to describe the field of instructions. Okay, we can use different symbols and field to describe the in different instruction. And every aspect of machine variable in program, assembly language uses one statement per machine instruction. Okay, to perform the instructions, it uses the different variables in the program, and it managed explicitly all instruction like register allocation, call, stack, timer, jump, loop, etc. For every instruction, it uses the different commands or different variables in the program. To understand the assembly level language, computer must require an assembler. That means the programs written in the assembly level language cannot be understood to the machine. So we require assembler to convert that into the machine understandable language, that is the machine language. That means assembler converts the assembly instructions into the machine level language. So what is the meaning of that? By using the assembler, we can convert the assembly level language commands into the computer understandable language, that is the machine level language. And it has the advantages. What are these? These are it is easily understandable by humans because it uses statements instead of binary digits. Comparing to the machine level language, it is easily understood. To develop a program, it takes less time. Debugging and troubleshoot is easy due to this we can easily find the errors, and it is a portable language. We can easily port the programs from one machine to another machine. We can also easily find the errors, and it also can have the disadvantages. Means it is a machine dependent language. Due to that, program designed for one machine, no use of other machine. Means for particular type of machine, we need to use the assembly language, and that assembly language cannot be used in other machine. So it becomes the disadvantage. Sometimes it's hard to understand the statement or the command which are used in the language. So these are the disadvantages. And next is the third generation languages or high level languages. And these is the upper level languages, and these are also known as the third generation programming language. These considered as the high level because which are closer to human languages, which are very closer to the human. These are the English like language. That means we have many examples like the high level languages such as the Fortran, Pascal, C, C++, Java, Ada, COBOL, Lisp, Prolog, Python, etc. All are the high level languages. The first high level programming language was written in 1950s. And the languages which are written in high level language must require the software to translate that program into machine understandable. That software is called the compiler or the interpreter. So we call the compiler and the interpreter the program translators. These are the program translators which translate the high level languages into the machine understandable language. The main job of compiler and the translator is to take the source code of the program and convert that code into the machine understood code. So compilers and interpreters or any other translators can use to translate the user code into the machine understood code. And the advantages of these languages are: in high level languages, instructions and commands are much easier to remember by the programmer. Very easy to remember. And its logic and structure are much easier to understand. The logic which is used in the programming can also be very easy. Structures are also very understandable. Debugging is also easy compared to other languages like the second and the first generation language. Less time consuming to write the new programs, and these languages are described as being portable languages. Means we can easily port the language programs which are written using the high level language into the another machine. And these can also have the disadvantages. That means these high level languages take more space compared to other, that is compared to assembly level language as well as the machine level language, because those languages are very close to the machine, but these are very close to the humans. So these take the more space to execute, and the programming language executes slowly, because these are closer to the human, not closer to the computer. So to execute these programs, it requires the it executes slowly, as well as it occupies the more space comparing to the previous languages. And here we know about what are the differences between the machine level and the assembly level language. Machine level language, which is the second generation programming language, first generation programming language, and assembly level language, that is a second level programming language. It comes at the lowest level in the hierarchy. So it has zero abstraction level from the hardware. And assembly language comes above the middle language. Machine language means that it has less abstraction level from the hardware. Okay, it has zero abstraction from the hardware, it has the less abstraction from the hardware. Machine level language cannot be easily understood by the humans. Assembly languages can be easy to write because it uses different commands. Easy to write, easy to read, and easy to maintain. And machine level language written using the only binary digits, that is the 0 and 1. And assembly language is written in simple English language, so it is easily understandable by the users. Machine languages does not require any translator, as the machine code directly executed by the computer. Assembly language requires the assemblers, which are used to convert the assembly code into the machine code. And these are the first generation programming languages, and these are the second generation programming languages. These are the differences between the machine level language and assembly level language. Like that, we have the two differences between the low level and high level languages. That means in the category of low level, we have the machine and assembly language. Like that, high level language, we have many languages. We see here the differences between these two languages. Low level languages are the machine friendly language. That means the computer understands the machine language, which is represented in zeros or ones. High level languages are user friendly languages. These are machine friendly and these are the user friendly. As these languages are written in simple English words which can be easily understood by the humans. Like low level languages are easily understood by the machine, high level languages are easily understood by humans. These requires more time to execute. Low level language takes more time to execute and high level language executes at a faster pace. Low level language requires the assembler to convert the assembly code into the machine code. The high level languages requires the compilers to convert the high level language into the machine code. Here for the low level assembly language we require the assembler. Here for high level languages we require the compiler to convert into the machine codes. The machine code cannot run on all machines, so it is not a portable language. The high level languages can run on all the platforms, so it is the portable language. Low level language is memory efficient and high level language is less memory efficient. Means it requires the more memory to execute and to manage. Debugging and maintenance are not easier in the low level languages. Debugging and maintenance are easier in high level languages. These are the differences between the low level and high level languages. And we have many types of computer language. Some of the list of languages here, those are the low level languages, high level language. As we learn up to now that low level languages are the machine and as well as the assembly level languages. A language that corresponds directly to a specific machine, those are called the low level. High level languages, that is the language which is independent of the machine, means which can be easily understandable by the user. And we are also have the other types of language which are includes the system languages. System languages are designed for low level tasks like the memory management, process management, etc. and computer programs which are the required to execute particular hardwares like that, those can be called as a system language. And scripting languages which are tend to be high level and very powerful languages like the HTML, JavaScript, those are the examples of the scripting language. And domain specific languages, these are only used in very specific contexts. And other are the visual languages which are non-text based. Like the graphical languages which are nowadays the pictures, the modifications, those all are the visual languages. Those are only based on the pictures, objects like that, not the text based. And another is the esoteric languages. These are the languages which are jokes are not intended for serious use. The language which are used to create the jokes, those are the esoteric languages. These are the some of the other languages which we can see up to now. Okay, as in this video we learn about the what is the programming and what is the programming language and classification of programming language. We have three classification: first generation, second generation and third generation programming language, and differences between the languages. Okay, thank you. And this is the my website this is the my YouTube channel. You can find me at Prathibha virtual classes, and as well as the you can find the PowerPoint presentations up in the SlideShare account, that is the Madishetty Prathibha. Thank you.